Okay, and here we go. Another open kit review. Now, I picked this one because being that Father's Day is coming up, I thought, a great thing to do with the youngsters, kids, grandkids, whatever the case may be, nephews, nieces, sons, daughters, whatever, the whole gamut. To get them into the hobby is to start off with one of these easy click or snap together, snap type models, depending what nomenclature you might be familiar with over the years. So I saw this one from Revell, and at 35 parts, it still looks to be a fairly decent build. Some of these get real simplistic. I think some of them are down to like, the 15 part range. To me, that doesn't seem like it would be particularly satisfying to people to get them interested in doing more complex builds, but I think this would be a great entry point for someone who's old enough to really, work with, a hobby knife and glue and stuff like that, and yet still hopefully end up with a fairly decent build. So, looking at the cover of the box, this is from Revell, Germany, so it has the, long rectangular box rather than the typical American, more like shoebox type. But we can see right off we have molding in color, which looks pretty good. We'll see how it looks once we open up the box. 35 parts, and in the back we get to see, whoops, sorry, hit my camera. We get to see how the completed build will look, quote unquote, because got to open up the box and see just how much of the color molding, how that works, and how much of this might be, after quite a bit of painting and detail work. So, that said, let's open up the box. They do give you, by the way, you have descriptions in all different languages about building the kit. We have optional painting, just a couple of colors here. Looks like a couple of different shades of gray and black. So even if you want to do something, you probably will be able to keep it real simple. So, and it is kit number 07643. All right, so let's open this up and see what we have inside. Okay. So first off, we get these nice Revell, Germany instructions. We'll get to the plastic, don't worry about that. We have, I'm going to look at this closely because, again, if we're looking at something to help guide someone into the hobby, safety instructions, more safety instructions, instructions will be important for building. Now we do get, which is interesting with this, we get traditional water slide decals, and they're typical Revell, very nice. But we also get self-adhesive vinyl decals, which is something neat. So, you want to get somebody into it, and maybe it seems like dealing with water decals is a little too much on a first go. Well, here we go, self-adhesive. So that's pretty neat that they give you both. And looking through the instructions, we have a nice parts layout, sprue maps. Now, from this you can tell, again, at 35 parts, it's not going to be very complicated, but it seems like all your major elements are here. We have some wheels, and we have molded red, which is nice for the taillights. It will be held together with metal screws. Wheels will go on axles. So it should be a fairly solid build as well. Now, one of the things I like about this, again, in terms of looking at this as a starting point to bring someone into the hobby, is that the instructions here seem like they're laid out just as they would be on a more complicated, traditional, cement and painting assembly kit. I think that's great because it makes it much easier to move up from something like this to a regular full kit. But that said, we will continue on and take a look here, and Seems like it all goes together fairly straightforward, which again at 35 pieces and for an introductory model it should. And we bottom in, wheels to tires, shafts, wheels, and we do get separate side mirrors. That's nice. And then a final guide for attaching the water slides or the vinyl. So, and they are all numbered, which is good, so makes it much easier to figure out the placement. And just noticed, even on the vinyl, we do get instrument gauges. So that's nice. So it should promise to build up to be a good kit. Now, before we dig into the plastic, one thing I will say is I haven't done one of these snap together car kits probably in, I don't know, 40 years. So I was kind of curious when I got this as well to see just how good a job with modern tooling was put towards doing a snap together kit. Way back, all those decades ago, you know, I found that, and this is not to be a bias against something that you snap together versus glue together, but with those very 40-year-old snap together kits, sometimes the detail in the parts was lacking. Sometimes the underbody pan or chassis pan was just a featureless slab. So it'll be interesting to see just what kind of detail they invest in the parts to give a nice looking kit and you know, really give someone a taste for building something with the details. So let's set this aside, and we have our plastic nicely packaged in 2 bags. We can see our blue body in there, red taillights, clear. We have not quite chrome, just some luminish, silveryish looking wheels. And I will be opening this up, but just to give you an idea. And hey, look, we have a nicely detailed, that's really nicely detailed underbody pan. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to open this up and be right back. All right. Okay, so let's take a look. Now in the box, we have all our components. I just opened the bags and took them out. So let's get started. First things first, looking at the body. Now, with kits that are molded in color, typically the complaint from people is that the color is not even. You will end up with these color swirls where the dye wasn't well mixed into the molding, but we do not see that here. The body has a nice shine on it. It is fairly well detailed. For the perfectionist out there, and you know you're out there, there is only really noticeable parting line right here on the front, but it almost looks like a bumper seam, and the signal light will help cover that, so that's not really bad at all. But I hope the camera catches just how nice of a shine is on there. It does have a little bit of a metallic flake finish in there. The only place where I see we have one which looks like a little scratch there, and looks like we have a little color whorl right there, but otherwise this is looking really good. Of course, I got a big, sorry, that's my handprint on there. But what I was going to say was, for building the kit, you know, once it's all done, you can just take a little glass cleaner on a piece of you know, soft cloth, paper towel, whatever. You just clean it off and it'll put that shine right back on there as it is originally, untouched, and you'll have a nice looking car. So we have in here the screws to hold it together, 2 metal shafts. We have the clear red for the tail lights, and that will pop right in there. So that looks good. We have some good old tires, but hopefully that is in focus. We have a nice tread pattern, so that's good. Nice detailing. So you just cut those off. A little knife and sanding to get down those nub marks from the rubber sprue there. We have our side mirrors, And you can see they have that little bit of metallic speckle on them. Fortunately, the nub mark is on the bottom of the mirrors, so once they're cut off, if that does not match, if that shows, it's on the underside of the mirror, so it won't be too noticeable. And we have our chassis pan, obviously top side, not much detail since this is not a kit with any opening compartments, but underside, we have some really nice detail here. The exhaust system is represented, suspension, the bottom of the engine, drive line. You can even see the drive boot coming off the transmission. Yeah, so you know what? For a snap together kit, it's something you won't be embarrassed to turn over for lack of detail. It's all there. And if you want to go crazy with it, you could start doing a little dry brush on there and bring up some of that detail, and that's pretty neat. We have our clear parts. I'm not going to take them out of the sprue, but just to show you, out of the bag, because I want to get them scratched up, but not much distortion there. There we go. They look nice and clear. The side mirrors are open, which is good, so you get a good look at the interior. The roof detail is actually all molded into the clear piece, so a little paint, you could bring that up as well, or just paint the sun visors, or you don't have to paint any of it. You could just pop it in there and it's good to go. And we have our headlight lens covers. Okay. Now on this sprue, we have obviously our wheels. We have this big insert here, which looks like the backing for the headlights. So that's nice. So you have a clear part for the headlight. You have the silver backing for the inside of the headlight. And in this whole piece, looks like with these holes, nice mounting holes, that'll snap right into the inside of the body, and you'll have a good finished look. And wheels, we have some nicely represented wheels. They even have the VW logos on them. Good to see. And interestingly enough, when you flip this over, it's black. So it's sort of like they just sprayed this in the Revell factory of modeling goodness, and there we go. So that's nice. The only thing to keep in mind is when you cut this, you will have black underneath. But this is the insides of the tires, so you will not see that. The attachment points are away from the exterior rim of the wheel, so you can cut these off and you won't have to do any touch-up. Same here with the front, where it's attached, that all will be inside the body. So the parts that you really need, which is for the headlight baskets, will remain unmarred. Good stuff. Our interior tub, one big piece, but looking at it, we do have what looks like a weaving stitch, if you want to call it, to the seats. We got cup holders, we got the emergency brake, we even have the little mat in the driver's footwell. We have some textured carpeting, so that all looks good. So this, mounted to that chassis plate, you should end up with a nice rigid build. This will not be a flimsy kit, that's for sure. Now, going to the dashboard, and here, this is really something to appreciate because this is just as detailed as you would find on any level of advanced, glue kit, and they put all of that attention into this dashboard. So you could build it straight and just put the vinyl decals on it, and that will look pretty good, or you could use the water slides, do a little touch-up paint, and it will look really good. So you have your choice there. And our steering wheel, again with a nice little VW logo, honk honk, get out of my way. And we have on the last sprue our seats. Rear seat for the bench, we get our shifter, seat uprights for the front seats, backs for those seats, and this I think is really cool, separate door card pieces. And here's something you don't even get on all glue kits, and not to pick on AMT, but AMT typically does the tub style chassis. the tub style interior. This is why the door cards are nice, because look at the level of relief you get by doing it as a separate piece. Lots of nice detail in there, and with those cutouts for like the map pockets, you'll even have depth as this sits inside the big chassis tub. So really nice. And again, you could just pop this right in and be done with it, or you could go and you could start picking out all the little detail with a brush. So that's really good. Okay, and there you have it. Now, my impression here, this is I think this is fantastic. And I'll tell you why. Because what you have here is the flexibility in how you want to build, in that for a new person to the hobby, you can assemble this straight. You could use the vinyl decals, and in an afternoon you will end up with what by all indication will be a nice looking model without having to touch any paint, any glue, and just, you know, minimal work with you know, hobby knife and a diagonal cutter to get the pieces off the sprues. And then, like I said, when you're done, a little glass cleaner, soft cloth, you polish down your body, you know, just wipe it clean of fingerprints, and you'd be set, and you'd have your first model under your belt. And anybody who has done the hobby, as you all know, and as a new person will need to learn, finishing that first kit is really important. However, for the more experienced modeler, if you want to build something that is simpler, not, you know, 150 or whatever parts, you know, at 35 parts, we're basically at a third of what a typical cement glue kit, you know, a cement, you know, and painting model car kit would go at. But the detail is here, so you could go and with just a little bit of detail painting, or if you want a whole lot of detail painting, really dress this up and have something that looks, you know, really, really sharp. So I would say good job to Revell on this. Now, I don't know if this is representative of all their easy click system kits, but from what I've seen, it seems like they're all newer releases. So I would imagine the tooling and the instructions and whatnot, and the detail that they put in these kits would be fairly consistent. So there you go. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And you know, like I said, if you want to bring someone new into the hobby, wow, you know, great starting point. So that said, I will call this quits, and I will have some JPEGs after this of the individual part sprues. So build, enjoy, have fun, share the joy of the hobby. And as the last thing, of course, as always, thank you for watching. Please do, you know, click to subscribe, like, share, you know, all that stuff. Hit the alarm bell, the notification bell, whatever, you know, all that good old YouTube stuff, as I like to say. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do share it so other people can see it, and I will see you hopefully at another build. All right then, goodbye.